Tonight, scathing abuse allegations swirling around a late billionaire. The alarming accounts of rape and sexual assault against former Harrods owner Mohamed Al-Fayed.
He is a fake, a phony, and a fraud.
What triggered this testy commotion in the House of Commons?
What the federal government does on its side, it's their job. I'm not there.
And the longtime Liberal loyalist who quit cabinet. Plus, from heist to homecoming, the piercing portrait of a wartime leader retrieved and returned to Canada.
He looks you in the face, and you can't give up with that stern look.
When a dream car purchase turns into a nightmare.
It's just disgusting what's happened. I mean, I can't tell you how sleepless nights I've had.
And fact or fantasy?
The idea that seeing is believing is just something that we have to throw away at this point.
The real story of a purple fruit from the prairies.
CTV National News with Omar Sachedina.
Good evening, everyone. We begin tonight with stunning allegations against a billionaire business tycoon whose victims, CTV News has learned, include Canadian women. The accusations made against Mohamed Al-Fayed, who died last year, were made in a BBC documentary that aired tonight. More than 20 former employees who worked at his luxury London department store alleging he raped or sexually assaulted them. Tonight, Harrods, now under new ownership, is asking current and former employees who believe they are victims of the man whose power and wealth gave him extraordinary access to people and places to come forward. CTV's Adrian Gobriel starts us off tonight, and a warning: some of these details are disturbing.
He was a billionaire business mogul who built his empire on the back of one of the world's most revered department stores, though now London's iconic Harrods and its late owner, Mohamed Al-Fayed, are at the center of a sexual assault scandal that has reached across the Atlantic Ocean.
So there's some really, really serious accusations.
CTV News has learned that multiple Canadian women are among the growing list of alleged victims who are stepping forward to claim they were sexually assaulted or raped by Al-Fayed while they were employees at Harrods.
Within these allegations, you have different members of staff, from managers to people who worked on the shop floor, talking about what they went through on the premises. That is massively, hugely damaging for the Harrods brand.
Though Al-Fayed's alleged assaults have been that much more destructive for the list of women who shared their stories in this new BBC documentary.
He tried to rape me more than once.
And he pushed me in and onto the bed so that I couldn't move, and held both my wrists.
I was kind of face down on the bed, and he pressed himself on me. Get him off, get him off, get him off.
Al-Fayed died last year at the age of 94. He was the father of Dodi, who died in a car crash with Diana, Princess of Wales, in 1997. His alleged assaults took place from London to Paris to Abu Dhabi. And the BBC reports that during Al-Fayed's ownership of Harrods between 1985 and 2010, the department store not only failed to intervene, but helped cover up the claims of abuse. Some of those who've come forward say they were as young as 15 and 16 years old at the time of the incidents.
Employees talk about seeing, new young girls walking through the door, and they would say, "Oh, you're going to be next." It was an open secret on the shop floor.
Harrods has issued an apology and released a statement that in part reads, "We are utterly appalled by the allegations of abuse perpetrated by Mohamed Al-Fayed."
Claims of sexual assault were leveled against Al-Fayed while he was still alive, though these allegations are at a new, unprecedented scale. Tomorrow in London, the lawyers representing the alleged victims will be holding a press conference where more disturbing details will be revealed. Omar.
All right, Adrian, thank you. A testy exchange in the House of Commons today between the Conservative and NDP leaders after Jagmeet Singh said he would not support Pierre Poilievre's non-confidence motion against the Prime Minister. The motion was already set to fail after the Bloc also said they would vote against it. And that means the minority Liberals will keep governing for now, but without the help of a key cabinet minister who quit today. CTV's Mike Couture explains.
After years of building bridges for the federal Liberals in Quebec, Pablo Rodriguez is crossing into provincial politics and cutting ties with his old party.
What the federal government does on its side, it's their job. I'm not there.
Rodriguez's departure caused a cabinet shuffle. Anita Anand is taking on the transportation file while remaining Treasury Board president, and Jean-Yves Duclos will serve as the Liberals' Quebec lieutenant. In another twist, Rodriguez says he's sitting as an independent, which drew questions about his support for the Trudeau government.
I'm not asking about an election. I'm asking about a vote of confidence.
See what elections would benefit at this moment anyone. So I would vote no.
The NDP also saying today it will vote to keep the government in power, despite saying this.
I do not believe that Justin Trudeau deserves a second chance. He has let you down. He has let you down, and it has meant that people are worse off.
Pension.
That stance infuriated the Conservative leader. And instead of attacking the Prime Minister, Pierre Poilievre went after Singh.
He is a fake, a phony, and a fraud. How can anyone ever believe what this sellout NDP leader says in the future?
That led to shouting from Singh and his MPs off camera. But the camera did catch Poilievre seemingly taunting the NDP end of the chamber. Meantime, the head of the Bloc Québécois is looking to leverage his vote for the government.
This is what we call power. We deposed a law that would increase the federal payments to elders between 65 and 74 years old by 10%.
With two opposition parties refusing to take down the government, the Liberals are clearly emboldened. So much that they've given the Conservatives a second opposition day next week, where Poilievre could introduce another non-confidence motion. Omar?
All right, Mike, thanks. Let's bring in CTV's chief political correspondent, Vassy Kapelos. And Vassy, what are you hearing about how the Liberals are reacting behind the scenes to Pablo Rodriguez's departure?
Yeah, behind the scenes, Omar, Liberals are certainly conveying to me that they realize this is a big loss, particularly in the province of Quebec. But even wider than that, given it's the second cabinet minister, high-profile one, in a few months to leave their position. As a result, people around the prime minister are really trying to downplay this. Note that the prime minister wasn't at the swearing-in ceremony for Rodriguez's replacement, Anita Anand, today. He didn't really speak publicly at all about the resignation of Pablo Rodriguez. Take that for what you will, but they're certainly trying to downplay it. Rodriguez, for his part, even going so far as to sit as an independent now to distance himself from the federal Liberal brand. Omar?
All right, Vassy, thanks. The saga of a stolen Canadian portrait capturing one of the most influential political figures of the 20th century is nearly over. CTV's Judy Trin is in Rome tonight, where there was a special handover ceremony at the Canadian Embassy.
It is not the Italian job, but it is a Canadian caper. The roaring lion portrait of Winston Churchill is returning home after hanging in Nicola Castellini's living room for nearly 2 years. He bought it for more than $9,000 from Sotheby's, which unknowingly auctioned off a stolen piece of history.
Now I am a part of a movie story. I think it's something priceless.
The heist happened around Christmas 2021 during COVID lockdowns. The original photograph of the glaring prime minister was swapped out with a copy bearing a forged signature encased in a cheaper frame. At that time, Ottawa police had little experience investigating art theft.
You look at the portrait every day and you're like, well, maybe we can give up. But he looks you in the face and you can't give up with that stern, look.
Investigators from Britain and Italy joined in the hunt.
We're delighted to be able to honor the collaboration that exists between Canadian and Italian law enforcement officials, which demonstrates their shared commitment to the fight against trafficking in cultural materials.
Initially, police believed it was an inside job, casting doubt on the employee who discovered the fake.
I'm not the one that took it, so the truth is the truth.
The theft struck at the heart of the chateau. The portrait was a gift from famed photographer Yusuf Karsh.
Come into our living room.
Karsh and his wife Estrelita lived at the hotel for 18 years. Losing the portrait scarred the chateau's identity. Its return will make it whole.
I would have never thought before that somebody would do something like this, but now that we know the security measures are reinforced, obviously, because the goal is really to put it back where it was.
We still don't know how the suspect pulled off this heist. That's a question that won't be answered in Italy, but it could be revealed in Ottawa, when 43-year-old Jeffrey Wood of Powassan, Ontario, faces charges of theft and forgery in court. Judy Trin, CTV News, Rome.
A warning from Hezbollah's leader tonight towards Israel, insisting that exploding pagers and walkie-talkies across Lebanon crossed, quote, all red lines, and vowing retaliation for what he said represented a declaration of war. At least 37 were killed and thousands more injured. Israel has not claimed responsibility, but today its warplanes hit targets inside southern Lebanon. CTV's Geneviève Beauchemin reports.
Two sonic booms shook Lebanon as Israeli warplanes ripped through the sky over Beirut. This just as Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah was speaking. He accused Israel of breaking all conventions and laws, of crossing a red line. He also vowed retribution would come. Nasrallah also acknowledged the terror group has been dealt a severe blow. The sabotaged wireless devices containing powerful explosives were reportedly handed to Hezbollah operatives months ago. Lebanese officials say explosions triggered remotely also injured many other people, including children, the elderly.
This didn't happen on a battlefield. I mean, even those who might be affiliated with Hezbollah, the vast majority of what we saw were civilians coming in.
Soldiers blew up suspicious devices, today fearing unexploded pagers and walkie-talkies might go off. The fear of what could be turned into a weapon next also prompted many to disconnect appliances, ditch all electronics. Who can feel safe in this situation, asks this man. When I heard what happened, I left my cell phone and my motorcycle and walked away. Hezbollah militants fired missiles and drones at Israel again today, as it has done since shortly after the war against Hamas began. Israeli officials say the terror group's strikes killed at least 2 people. Israel made no mention of the wireless device attacks, but said it had entered a new phase of military action. It struck Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon.
Israel is responding with force to this aggression by Hezbollah. We will use all means necessary to restore security to our northern border and to safely return our citizens to their homes.
The UN has urged both sides to back away from this conflict, warning all-out war would take a heavy toll on civilians.
Reports have emerged that Israel set up shell companies and set the stage for these synchronized attacks years ago. Omar.
All right, Jen, thank you. The Republican mayor of Springfield, Ohio, has given himself emergency powers to try and protect residents from persistent threats fueled by false rumors spread by the former president. Here's CTV's Joy Melvin.
State troopers stand guard in this small Ohio town, along with new security cameras after more than 30 bomb threats, all hoaxes, forced hospital evacuations and school shutdowns. And it all began after this.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats.
Donald Trump repeated baseless conspiracies about Haitian migrants stealing and eating pets. It's been fact-checked, debunked, but Trump hasn't corrected the record and vows to visit the city soon.
Gotta do what I gotta do. Whatever happened to Trump? Well, he never got out of Springfield.
Springfield's Republican mayor says don't bother coming. He's got enough to deal with.
We'd like those that on the national stage that can bring peace, that could tamper their words and speak truth. That's what Springfield is asking.
The town of 58,000 now a flashpoint over immigration after 15,000 Haitians given temporary legal status to help fill manufacturing jobs here. The influx has put a strain on city resources, but many, now part of the community, feel they're being targeted.
It creates a lot of fear and confusion amongst the Haitian community.
Trump's running mate J.D. Vance admitted he's okay with spreading the fake cat-eating smear if it helps their campaign.
If I have to create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do.
And today, Ohio's Republican governor pressed on why he doesn't just tell Trump to stop it.
I don't know what's inside his head. I don't know how I can push back any more forcefully.
The FBI is now in charge of investigating the bomb threats that have created fear and division among residents, many who hope that Trump decides not to visit. Omar?
All right, Joy, thank you. And Springfield came up on the Democratic campaign trail today as Kamala Harris was joined by Oprah.
in Springfield, Ohio, the Haitian families, the non-Haitian families, everybody having to deal with this lie that has endangered the lives of Haitian people and anybody who looks Haitian. Everybody in America feels for that.
Coming up, a home run for the history books.
Back it goes! Gone!
A major league milestone for a one-of-a-kind player. The political drama is building on opposite sides of the country tonight, where voters will soon head to the polls in provincial elections. CTV's Andrew Johnson is looking at the race in BC, where the vote is now just a few weeks away. But we start with CTV's Sarah Plowman in Fredericton, where New Brunswick's campaign today officially kicked off.
Omar, an Angus Reid poll out today shows that Blaine Higgs has the lowest approval rating out of all the premiers in this country. But today he says he doesn't want to make this election about him, but about how this province is doing and who's best to continue that momentum. Progressive Conservative leader Blaine Higgs is looking for a third term, but Liberal leader Susan Holt and Green Party leader David Coon have other plans. Like elsewhere in the country, big issues will be affordability, access to health care and education. The PCs are promising to drop the harmonized sales tax by 2%. The Liberals are pledging to open more collaborative care clinics, and the Greens vow to fix health care and pay healthcare workers the same as they're paid elsewhere in this region. Now, a political scientist points out how under Higgs, the PC party has moved further to the right. Lately, he's been talking about a lot of social issues, things like asylum seekers, safe injection sites. And last year, New Brunswick was the first province in this country to bring in a controversial pronoun policy in schools. Higgs has at times faced a lot of turmoil in his cabinet, but he's still standing. The question now is, will New Brunswickers vote for him again or for somebody else on October 21st? Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Fredericton.
I'm Andrew Johnson in Vancouver, where a month out from the BC vote, a shocking collapse has led to a two-party sprint to victory no one could have predicted. The latest polling shows John Rustad's Conservative Party has almost drawn even with David Eby's NDP, who have been in power since 2017. The Conservatives, a party that earned only 2% of the popular vote in 2020, have seemingly come out of nowhere and decimated the official opposition.
The rise of the Conservatives and the demise of BC United, formerly BC Liberal Party, the party of Gordon Campbell and Christy Clark, which governed this province for a decade and a half, just steamrollered by BC Conservatives. BC United has pulled out of the election. I've never seen a political party throw in the towel a couple of weeks before an election.
Some BC United candidates are now running as independents who could potentially partner with the Greens to hold the balance of power in a minority government. The big issues here in BC include the cost of housing, the carbon tax, plus mental health and addiction. Omar.
All right, Andrew, thanks. Still ahead.
It's just disgusting what's happened.
The desperate plea to put the brakes on a car-moving scam, an Ontario man's outrage. A warning for Canadians looking to buy and sell cars and transport them across the country. An Ontario man says he was scammed out of thousands of dollars. CTV's Kathy Lee has the details.
A special kind of car for a special person.
This car was supposed to be for my wife, okay, because she likes old cars.
The 1955 Dodge Coronet was purchased on Kijiji, located in Dutchess, Alberta.
Steve got a hold of me. We had it listed for $30,000. And we started negotiating. We ended up at $28,000 for the car.
It should have been delivered to Steve's home in Ontario on August 9th by a moving company called carmoves.ca that he hired for $2,400. The payment made, but the car still hasn't arrived. Steve says delivery of his car kept getting delayed and communication with the company has been spotty. He says they asked him for more money. He told them he wouldn't give them more until the vehicle was delivered to his house. During this time, Steve has filed a report with the police and got his bank to flag Car Moves' account as fraudulent. The company recently told Steve that his vehicle is in Ontario, but it still hasn't been delivered to his house.
get choked up here. I just can't believe there's people out there like this. I really can't.
CTV News emailed and called carmoves.ca multiple times and has not received a response. The Better Business Bureau says people need to be vigilant.
If you are transporting a high-ticket item, you really want to thoroughly research the company, not just based on their website, but, ask some friends, take it to other websites, take it to review sites. Use the name of the company and a search engine and type the word scam to see if anybody else is reporting any kind of suspicious activity.
Steve says he's familiar with carmoves.com and thought carmoves.ca was the same. A costly mistake he hopes no one else makes. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
And before we go to break, take a look at this.
Back it goes! Go!
Baseball history tonight as LA Dodgers star Shohei Ohtani became the first Major League player to hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases in the same season. Quite a feat. After the break, biting into the purple apple phenomenon in the prairies. And we leave you tonight with a colorful crop of apples in Saskatchewan, generating a lot of curiosity and providing a lesson to chew on. Here's CTV's Alison Bamford.
In the eyes of a gardener, if something looks too good to be true, it probably is.
It would be so fun, but unfortunately, it is not real.
Rochelle Hoffmeister has let down several customers this month searching for the elusive purple apple. A viral social media post suggests they grow on purple apple trees and are used to make purple apple sauce, claiming the culinary tradition originates from Saskatchewan. The pictures are fake, AI generated. Many quick to point that out online, others seemingly took the bait, commenting, "I want to try one. Look good," and asking what parts in Saskatchewan do they grow. You've seen this before?
Yeah, on Facebook, yeah.
And what did you think when you saw it?
Well, I don't think it's real, but I don't know.
I've never seen purple apples before.
Thousands of varieties of apples can grow in Saskatchewan, just not these.
You can have purple leaves on the crab apples.
Although fairly harmless, tech experts say these apples serve as a good reminder of just how fast misinformation can spread in the age of AI.
The idea that seeing is believing is just something that we have to throw away at this point. It's no longer good enough to verify evidence.
Instead, be skeptical, experts say, and watch for clues, like the hashtags on this post, unnaturalist, AI, and plantasy. Pretty big hints that it's not real. But if you did fall for it, don't worry.
When there's an AI-generated photo that pops up online, we always get lots of inquiries.
You weren't the first, and you won't be the last. Alison Bamford, CTV News, Regina.
And that's a snapshot of this Thursday. Hope you can join Heather tomorrow. For all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching and good night.